G'day Prospectors, Tony from Gold Talk Leonora, on the job. Patched on the side of a hill, feeding little Tiny. Getting the dirt to run through. Happy days. It's the day of the mashed potato in America, our American cousins. Happy mashed potato day. I'm a huge fan of mashed potato. Huge fan. We are well into the season. We're running dirt. The weather's good. The dirt's dry enough. Still a little bit damp down the bottom. We're in Wild Creek, by the way. A little bit damp down there, and it's not worth rushing it. So I just spread that dirt out a little bit, tickle it up, turn it over, and let Mother Nature suck a bit of moisture out of it. Won't be far away, but there's a lot of dirt on the side of this hill that needs processing, and up the top there's plenty of dry dirt. So it's much smarter being up there rather than down there at the moment. We'll get to that. I don't like having lots of ground open. Legally, on a program of works, I can have 2 hectares open at any time. I try and, sort of, you do wind up pushing those boundaries a lot, just in this exact situation where I can't work down the hill at the moment, so I have to open up more ground up the top. But it's a good thing. I think it's a good ruling, because it just means that you keep right on top of your rehabilitation. You won't be able to, just trying to say, no, you won't be able to, I don't think you'll be able to pick it up, but just below where I'm dry blowing at the moment, that area there's been processed. I did that last week, so that's all being rehabilitated through there, and it just keeps the work site a little tidier, and more to the point, it's the most efficient way of doing it. Sort of rehabbing as you're working around the place. It's one of those things that when it comes to processing dirt, I'm going to be processing it, I'm going to be process a bit of dirt, I'm going to be touching it at least 4 times. So I've got stockpile dirt. So you can see here where I'm working at the moment. It looks like it's 20 metres deep. It's not, it's just that we're on the bench on the side of the hill, but really interestingly we're getting very good grade up here, and it's full of quartz float. We are getting right through to the structure, the big quartz structure running through here, but the reason why I'm still digging is that in between the quartz float itself is just that, it's separate pieces, and there's red dirt in between it, which is carrying the gold. So anyway, as I said, we have to, when we're putting dirt through any dry blower, we need to stockpile the dirt. We need to feed the dirt through the machine. We then need to manage the dirt away from the dry blower, and we then need to rehabilitate. Now sometimes, particularly if you're running using a loader, you can combine 3 and 4 together. So you're removing dirt and putting it straight back in the hole, and that's a big advantage of a loader, because that's what it's designed to do, is to load and to short transport dirt. But what I prefer to do, and it's just a personal choice, rather than taking the dirt to where I'm working, rather take my equipment to where the dirt is. And that way, I don't know, within a couple of 100 square metres, I'm digging, processing and rehabilitating all in the one spot. I've still got to touch the dirt, but I haven't got to transport the dirt as much. So my cycle time is a bit more efficient. But that's just a personal preference based on the machinery I've got. And I think ultimately you'll work it out for yourself what works for you and your operation. We had a great response to the last video, and thank you so much for the positive comments. And it's really interesting what floats your boat, because I never know. I can only tell you what floats my boat. Oh, nice red dirt down there. I wind up saying it probably far too often, but you know, I need it to be very, very clear that anything I'm saying is only opinions that I have. The good thing is they're not AI generated or based on other people's knowledge. It's just crap that I've learned over the years, and my objective or my aim, I guess, always is to try and help people out and give a sort of a realistic idea of what prospecting is all about. I just wanted to reinforce a couple of points from the last vid. And that is, always drink more coffee. That's the most important thing. What I never want to do is discourage people from having a go. It's exactly the opposite. I want people to have a go. But I also want you to succeed. Or more to the point, I don't want you to fail miserably and you know, have to wind up selling your butt cheeks on some street in Thailand just to get by. Because that wouldn't be a good thing, unless that's what you want to do. And that's a whole different kettle of fish. The main thing I was trying to get across in that vid was you need to work out what kind of gold you're chasing really before you start chasing it, and work out your recovery method given or based on the kind of gold that's present. Alright, there is absolutely no point going down the path of chasing sub-micron gold, 40 micron, that you're going to need cyanide for, if you don't have the resources or the desire to pursue it. And Lisa and I are exactly in that sort of position where, don't worry, we've got sort of hard rock resources, but I'm not going to spend the money on them. There's plenty of other people that want to get involved and they can spend their money on it. But as I've mentioned about 394 times, working alluvials is a very good way way to go. Very good way to go. And with the price of gold at present, it seems to be getting better by the day. The most important thing though, for the 395th time, is a lot of people spend time and effort on their equipment, which you're going to need to do. And I think some of that comes down to, that's sort of my experience with people I've spoken to, where, you know, they're boiler makers by trade, or they're fabricators, or handy people and what have you, and they want to get into building gear. That's great, but it's not the most important thing. Coming up with a better dry blower is not the most important thing. Dry blowers, and good dry blowers, can be purchased with money. It's only money. That's a really arrogant statement. And remember, the person giving it to you hasn't got a lot of money. But it's not the most important thing in dry blowing or gold mining. There's always someone with money that wants to get involved, if that's the way you want to do it. What is important, and it's the only important thing, is getting control of the right ground. The great thing, and it's so cool, about being a small operator, is that you're a small mining company. You have to do the bloody lot yourself, tenement acquisitions, tenement management, all the compliance stuff, you name it. I love that about it, because it keeps you busy, it keeps you challenged and motivated, and I think I've got a little blockage there in the chutes. Right. When I'm working this, I'm constantly keeping an eye on my tailings conveyor, and I can see there that the flow rates drop down. So what I'll do is I'll just chuck this bucket in, and then I'll just go and have a look while you guys amuse yourself. Hopefully Lisa might play some Sydney music whilst I'm away. But it's the only thing that matters. It is the thing that will make or break your entire operation, your plans, your desires, your dream. Right? And it always comes down to the ground you've got. You need to have control of it. It needs to carry gold. That's the tricky part. And you need to have ground stacked up ahead of you, projects ahead of you. Having one project, waste of time. Alright. Back in a moment. biggest single mistake that I see being made in the gold fields constantly is people get or buy one tenement, becomes their home block, they get emotionally attached to it, and they waste the next 5 years, 10 years trying to find gold on it. Can't emphasise it enough. Prove it up or piss it off. Be mobile. It's what alluvial miners do best. A lot of people reached out to us from the last vid, and they wanted more information about the comments I made about sort of taking tenement holders on through the Warden's Court. I'm not going to go into it too much. Basically, because sometimes a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, and understanding some of the basics of how the Warden's Court works, and I'm not an expert by the way, you know, if you don't have that overall picture, it can do more harm than good. Suffice to say, the Mining Act of 1978 and its regulations of 1981, I think it is, very clear, very precise, and they tell you how to do things, like mark a tenement out. And you would be shocked, as I am almost daily, at how many people, including companies, that mark their tenements out incorrectly. That leaves them open for objections in the Warden's Court, and leaves them open for the opportunity for someone like me to come along and take that tenement off them. Now the thing is, it's a fairly ruthless way to go about it. But what I'd say is that you need to keep in mind that how the hell else are you in the current climate, as in the current financial climate, how the hell else are you going to get a foothold? Because here you got some muppet, me, saying, oh, you got to get tenements. Well, how the do you get tenements when there's absolutely bugger all available? You've probably got three options. You try and joint venture with a company. They don't need you, so why are they going to deal with you? What have you got to offer? JVs are quite hard at the moment unless you've got the tenement and you have something to offer. Get my point? You can buy them, and a lot of people do that. To be honest, there's so often where I see they're buying stuff that's just shit. I wouldn't touch it. So what are you going to do differently than I'm going to do? You're already down 5 ounces or something, 30 grand. Trying to make a block work for you, and wishing and hoping it's not where you want to be in mining and prospecting. So that pretty much leaves you with the third option, and that is you need to be aggressive, alright, and legal, and not if, when companies stuff up, you need to know your shit and be ready to pounce. That's just the way the market is at the moment. Do you think that there's friends in prospecting and mining? you are wrong. There are interests, there are alliances, everything else, but no friends. All that sounds pretty full on. I don't want it to be full on. I want you to succeed, damn it. I want you to find gold. It's not easy. Far out. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Last thing I've got to say is, well, actually two more things. I can sit there all day. I've got another 6-7 hours I'm sitting in this cab, so I've got all the time in the bloody world. Is I do need to maybe apologise. Look, so here we are out on site at the moment, and while the weather's like this, I spend all day out here, every day, 7 days a week. And people get frustrated because they can't get a hold of us on the phone or something like that. Please understand that we're only a husband and wife team, and much of the time, not all the time, but much of the time, we're working in areas where there's little to no phone service, which is awesome. But people get a bit pissed off when, you know, they can't get me on the phone to have a chat. I don't mean, I'm not intentionally trying to be rude. It's just, mate, running dirt, prospecting, mining like this is my priority. This is what I do. Everything else, apart from leasing, comes second. Last thing I'd say is, holy crap, man, the price of gold! Fuck! Route! I'll do that again for a big far out! What I find hilarious, and I think it's very normal that you get a little bit oh, what's the word? Retrospective or something. It's always been the case, well, last 40 odd years that I know, it's always been the case that you'll have a cohort of people that'll be running around every morning around caravan parks and things in mining areas going, what's the price of gold? Anyone know the price of gold? Some people are obsessed by it. Dad always hated those people. Oh, what a bunch of tossers. And I'm afraid I've always been the same too. I've never worried about the price of gold. I just concentrate on finding it. We've always been of the mindset that the price of gold doesn't really matter because, you know, we're doing this out of passion, and, you know, the gold price could be up, it could be down, we're still out here doing it. But the funny thing is, well, I find it funny, the funny thing is, I've sort of become one of those people. And every morning for work, I'm firing up the computer, and one of the first things I type in is price of gold in Australian dollars today. Far out. Yesterday, I think it was 6,700 Australian. It is absolutely bonkers, and I cannot see it coming off anytime soon. It sort of leads me to the last thing, because I've been starting to feel a little bit guilty. Mum and Dad raised me to be reasonably polite when it comes to things that matter, and I do try and be respectful to people. And I sort of feel a little bit beholden to send Donald Trump a thank you card. whilst I'm sure there's other factors with Israel and Russia and other idiots in the world, but I sort of feel over the last couple of years Donald Trump has done an amazing job at getting that gold price up. And personally, I think it would be rude not to send him some sort of a thank you card. He doesn't know who I am, and he doesn't need to. I think it's about respect. You know, and just saying, mate, you've made a real big difference to our lives, a couple of bushies from Australia, and we really thank you for your efforts. So I guess that's what I'm saying. We'll see what the power of the interweb's like. If anyone has a postal address for Donald Trump, would you mind shooting it through to us? I don't want it to be weird or escalate into something like else, but just, I don't know, do you send it Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, care of the White House, Washington? Maybe that'll get there. But if there is actually a postal address for him, I'd be most grateful for you to give it to us, because, mate, I've got to send him something, maybe even a little nugget from Australia. I mean, $6,700. Oh, if only my old man was still around to see it, he would absolutely be fizzing at the bunghole. It's an amazing thing. Prospectors, you get out there and you get yourselves organised and you get yourselves part of this adventure. Why wouldn't you? I'll keep feeding Tiny. Keep that spice flowing. See you, Prospectors.